Actually, a lot of people think that people who live in poverty are lazy. They don't want to work. They come from a long history of not working, and that's really not true. There is a culture in poverty. The opportunities are fewer for people living in poverty. When you are trying to find food and safe housing and clothing, that can take a whole lot of time and not leave you a lot of extra time. So a lot of people in poverty want to work but can't find jobs.
As a community can do to help.
Oh, I think everybody at Stetson, every single one of you should go out in the schools and mentor. And I think you should be there. We know that children who live in poverty, sometimes it's just one person in their life that makes that difference. And so you can go out and just be a friend. You can read to a student, show an interest. We've got so many children in our schools that are starved for attention. And all of the schools in the West Volusia area are what we call Title I schools, which means that they have a number of children, a high number of children on free and reduced lunches. And so I think just being a friend.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of misconceptions and myths and stereotypes that surround people living in poverty and homelessness every day that really makes life more challenging than it already is. And so one of the biggest myths that exists is that someone living in poverty is lazy, right? A lot of times people will say, well, they should just get a job, they're lazy. But that's absolutely not the case. And so when we think about poverty, homelessness, most people don't really think about children when they think about it in the context of the United States. And the reality is we have many, many school-age children who are living in poverty, living in homeless situations, and in a country that has so much. This breaks my heart. Really, I find it very deeply distressing, and I think it's all of our civic responsibility to do something about that. One, getting involved in our local shelters that are close by. In DeLand, we have the Neighborhood Center. They always need people to volunteer, to bring resources. I know a lot of our schools that are high poverty schools need individuals to help gather those resources, such as even things that many of us take for granted, like deodorant and toothbrushes and just things for hygiene, right? So creating hygiene bags. A lot of the families don't have some of these basic necessities. And then I have families that I'm working with that are in the cycle of poverty, right? Just kind of caught up because it's very hard to escape that. We don't make it easy for people who are living in poverty. And I know just from my own family's history too, the struggles in terms of just how poverty can impact someone. Right? This is very personal for me, so I'm sorry to get emotional. But it's personal in that sense. And I really believe that when we have so much in our community, there's so much we can do. So again, getting involved, right? Donating to food pantries, being a voice, raising awareness, giving back to our local schools. We have high poverty schools. We have schools with high numbers of children who are homeless and in poverty situations, right? They need people to share their time and just go read books right after school to kids. Volunteering at our community Boys and Girls Club in Spring Hill. There are so many, really, the opportunity to get involved and make a difference is huge. If you're a student at Stetson, we have the Stetson Student Homeless Coalition, we have Habitat for Humanity chapter, we have ACLU, we have so many student organizations and groups that are actively trying to make a difference intentional and making the time to make that difference.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for caring and putting together a project that is so meaningful and needed.
Poverty is defined as a family of four living under $23,850 a year. The United States has 15.1% of people living under the poverty line. Florida has 17%, while DeLand, Florida has 21.2% of people living under the poverty line.